Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Voice It, the one and only radio station of VIT Chennai. And I'm RJ Meghna.
I'm RJ Jyoti. Nice to meet you, everyone.
So, hello guys, this is RJ Saranya, and today we are going to take you down into the world of books and fill you up with amusement. So, stick with us until the end of the episode, and we are here to explain you all of it out.
Right, exactly. Just like how Sharanya said, we are going to be launching our very new episode of our show, Books That Transform You. So, for all you book lovers and voracious readers out there, get set to be enthralled because we are going to take you through a mesmerizing journey filled with fiction, reality, emotion, suspense, mystery, and a lot more. So, now I guess it's time to find out who is going to be giving us an insight of our first book for the day. So let's see who it is. Over to you, Jyoti.
Well, today we will be taking top tier books and we will be reviewing them. Each of us gets a book to review, and I will be giving All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. Charanya.
And here I am going to take you down to the world of productivity and self development with my book Six Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono. And what do
Wow,
you have in
seems
track,
like we
Meghna?
have seems like we have two interesting books in hand already, and I'll be taking you through a magical story of The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare.
Wow, that's super interesting.
Okay, so Jyoti, having heard the title of your book, All Your Twisted Secrets, I'm a bit curious to know more about the details of the book. So, would you mind giving us a small abstract of it?
Will do. So there are six teens who have been invited to a dinner by the mayor, and they are put in a room for the dinner itself. And when they are served the first course, they have a note, a time bomb, and a syringe filled with poison. And the note states that you pick up the syringe and kill one random person in the room, or otherwise everyone dies by the effect of the time bomb, effective after an hour. Now, Amber Prescott is very intense, and she really wants to save everyone in this book. But as the pages fly by, there is each person who has their own secrets. And the secrets get hard to hide through the pages. So we can actually conclude that this is a book of mystery and a lot of suspense.
Okay, so this is actually sounding super interesting to me. So, Jyoti, as a person who is totally new to this book, can you give me more insights about the lead character Amber Prescott?
Well, yes, Amber Prescott is our lead character, as Shania mentioned. And she actually has a very weird vibe as a character, if I might say so myself. The first question that any reader would like to ask would be, why does Amber want to save her friends? I mean, within the pages at the beginning, you have no insight. So, any answers from you guys?
I think she's super compassionate and she really loves her friends.
Well, I think it's because she's having some really huge master plan in her brain, and that she's just staying silent before she makes the next huge leap.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
the book can go both ways, actually, because it's a suspense book, and anything is always unsure until the end. And no spoilers to anyone who hasn't read it, so please do go and read it. And just because we made our conclusions right now, don't jump to the end because we kind of, concluded it ourselves. As to continuing with the character sketches, there is a bully who is like the Regina George of our story, and she is Sasha. She's a people pleaser and she wants everyone to do whatever she wants. And the other four, who are Diego and Priya and Scott, are people who also want to be a part of this plan, except they are victims of Sasha. So each person has their own secret, which Sasha tries to expose, and under that threat, they are in that room.
Okay, so Jyoti, based on what you said, what I was able to make out was that the book has a lot of suspense and other theatrical facts to it. But apart from this, does the book actually have some life attributes which we can take back from?
It does, Meghna. It does, Magna. It does. Apart from the secrets that are mentioned in the book, there is a lot of mental health that goes behind each character. There are no deep psychological factors that associate with any human being. You can just take up the basics like grief, bullying, peer pressure, and some other common stuff that happen in a school or college environment, which actually need to be addressed because a lot of teens go through these stuff on a daily basis. And when they see people, being like that in fiction as well, and a fictional character addressing it to them, showing that they aren't alone when they are going through that battle, would seem a bit comforting to them. And I find that's a great way to address these issues to today's world.
I totally agree to you, and that's definitely a few things we should keep in mind while approaching different problems in our lives. So, Sharanya, what is your insight into the book based on the review Jyoti just gave?
Oh my god, this totally keeps my mind super curious to know what is in, and I'm gonna rush out to the bookstore to grab my own copy and go through this totally inside.
True, true. I agree to you as well, Sharanya. The book sounds to be really interesting, and I think it has a very dark theme and a setting with six teenage characters who have a lot of entangled secrets, and there's a lot of suspicion and mystery going on. So definitely a must read for all of us out here.
Precisely. Okay, guys, so now that you're totally drowned into the world of fiction, let me pull your leg into what reality exactly sounds like. So, now, guys, outside all these fictional world, when you move out into your own college life or when you're thinking of some entrepreneurial ideas, so here I am presenting you Six Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono. So, this is a very realistic and very well usable idea which is presented by the author, which is going to give you some mind boggling ways to actually brainstorm ideas. So, before I move into the major context of the book, let me ask you certain questions. So, guys, what are the problems you face when you are sitting down to brainstorm ideas?
Well, for me, brainstorming is a session when I bring my thoughts together. Unlike everyone who tries to bring thoughts from nowhere, I have my thoughts already filled up. So brainstorming is a session where I clear all of that out and just come to consensus. What about you, Meghna?
Well, for me, I think brainstorming at times can actually get a little tedious, because you need to get your creative juices to flow and put on your thinking caps and actually collect all innovative, imaginative ideas and bring them together. So at times that can get a little tricky, because of the spur of the moment. So that's one of the main problems I face when it comes to brainstorming ideas.
Precisely, guys. So now the main difficulty when it comes to thinking of ideas is confusion. We try to do too many things at once. Emotions, information, logic, hope, creativity, everything crowds up into your mind and it's like juggling with too many balls. But here, what Edward de Bono puts forward in this book is a very simple concept which allows a thinker to do one thing at a time. He or she can be able to separate emotion from logic, creativity from information, and so on. So, this concept of six hats, putting on one of these hats defines a certain type of thinking. So, in this book, he is going to describe the nature and contribution of each type of thinking.
Shania, I have a question for you.
Sure,
What
sure.
would happen if there are like contradictions in the team? Like, how would they come together to consensus?
Okay, precisely. So here is a concept which is called as parallel thinking. So let me explain you with the help of an example maybe. So imagine there is a large and beautiful country house. So one person is standing in the front of a house, one is standing on the behind, and two other people are standing at each side of the house. Now all four have a totally different view of the house. Now if all of you are ending up taking an argument as to that your view is the best view, so you will never come to a conclusion. So, what the author is saying is that all of you take your time, walk around, look at the front, look at the side, and look at the back, so that at each moment, each person is looking in parallel from the same point of view. So, this way, when you look into all of these, and the conclusion, you will get to an idea that which side is exactly the right. So, this is how you come into a conclusion whether you're right or wrong. So, the way in which Edward de Bono illustrates this is by using six different colored hats. So let me give it to you in pairs so that you remember better. So here we have black and white, red and yellow, and green and blue. So white hat is neutral and objective, and whatever is facts comes under white hat. Whereas black hat is totally sombre, serious, and it is always says about dangers and caution. Whereas your red hat gives you emotions, and your yellow hat is everything which is positive. Your green hat contains innovation, and your blue, which is super cool, contains everything inside the organization and more like an organizational control of it. So in this case, whenever you're next time going to a meeting, wear your red hat, and at that time, every team member thinks of the emotional perspective to the problem. And when you're going to wear the yellow hat, you're going to think of everything positive. And when you're going to wear the black hat, every person in the team are going to speak about what is the dangers every particular idea is actually having. So this way, when the meeting is coming to a conclusion, you have a very clear idea of what is right, what is wrong, and how to proceed. So this is how you're going to end any meeting without any confusion, but also getting answers to all your questions. So how amazing is this, guys?
Yeah, that seems to be a really cool and interesting idea. In fact, something which is very helpful, to be honest. Now, Sharanya, you've been elucidating so many different techniques and different methods which we can incorporate, but are these just
Yes.
mere facts or are they proven?
Okay, so now this one brings to me to a major important component of this book, which I actually left out. So yeah, Meghna, now that you raised this question, this method has been used by leading companies like NASA, IBM, DuPont, NTT, Shell, and Statoil, and lot more. So starting from Siemens in Germany until Federal Express, everybody actually uses this technique. So let me elucidate a particular incident which happens in Statoil in Norway. So initially, they had a problem with one of their oil rigs, and this was costing more than $100,000 per day, and it has been continuing for like so many months. So when the team was totally exhausted and they're badly needing for some permanent solution, a certified trainer, Jen Arups, actually introduced the six hat method, and within 12 minutes, this $1,000 a day expenditure was reduced to nil. So just imagine breaking down a $100,000 a day expenditure to nil within a matter of 12 minutes.
That is
Whoa,
very
that
amazing.
yeah, exactly. That's very impactful, to be honest. So, based on whatever you've just shared with us, Sharanya, I think this book is something very inspirational and it has a lot of points which we can actually incorporate in our day-to-day lives, especially when we go for group discussions or any meetings or when we sit down and do any brainstorming sessions. So, definitely a must-read book. What do you think, Jyoti?
Well, I think the book shines in a lot of insight to those who actually want to brainstorm and bring in consensus. And I would think this would be very effective for group meetings and discussions when there is a period of conflict and when you need to settle your thoughts to come to a solution to get that work done.
Okay, so I guess with that, we have covered two important books for the day, and now I'm going to take you to the book which I'll be giving you a review about. So, let me give you a small insight into how the book actually starts off with. Okay, so Clary Frey, who's a 15-year-old teenager, she heads out to this Pandemonium Club in the New York City. And she hardly expects to see anything weird because naturally it's a club and she expects to see dance, party, music, and so on. But what she saw was a murder which was committed by three teenagers who were like literally covered with some strange tattoos and were brandishing bizarre weapons. And now the worst part here is the body, it just disappears into thin air, and everyone for everyone else in the club, these three teenagers who are the murderers are invisible.
And yeah, do you think we would survive such a moment when all the
Oh my
characters are
god.
invisible? Like, I've read the book to be honest, but I don't think I'd survive that moment.
Oh my god, this is totally out of my lane. And if under any case I was in that place, I would have collapsed then and there, which is super terrible to me.
True, true. I totally agree with you guys. And this is how the book Mortal Instruments starts off. And this is the way Cassandra Clare actually pulls us into this whole new world of shadow hunters. It's actually a euphoria which is put forward in a very classy and stupefying manner and something which is so fantasy related and magical, and definitely a must read.
Totally.
Okay, guys, in this case, Meghna, being a person who is not much into these books, can you tell me more about who shadow hunters are and how are they placed?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So, for those of you who aren't really sure about shadow hunters, I'll give you a quick insight into them. So, shadow hunters are basically this race of human beings whose ancestors had actually drank the angel Raziel's blood out of this special cup, which was called the Mortal Cup. And shadow hunters actually have a very different physical nature. Their bodies are fully covered with tattoos, and these are not any normal, ordinary tattoos. They are runes, and these runes are actually imprinted onto the skin by this special tool called a stele. And each of these runes actually give the shadow hunters a special type of superpower, and it's different for each shadow hunter. Now, some of these runes can be permanent, whereas some will fade quickly. So, that's about their physical touch of shadow hunters. And shadow hunters also have this really powerful weapon called the seraph blades, which they seem to have received from an angel who appears in the story. So that's all about the shadow hunters, and it's just a magical world, something which is very different from all the other fictional series which we read. So definitely a must try out book.
Magna, a popular fan-based question that I'd like to ask, seeing that I've read the book already, though. Would you like to be a shadow hunter or a downworlder?
Okay, so, right from the time I've been reading the book, I've always wanted to live the life of a shadow hunter, because the way they actually deal with the different obstacles which come their way, the way they tackle their problems, they're so adventurous and they're so thrilled, and there's so much happening in their lives at any certain point of time. And even in the book, there's literally no dull moment at all. It's just so exciting, and we all will be so curious to know what's happening and what's going to happen. So definitely I would want to be a shadow hunter than a downworlder. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's my take on it.
That's
Wow,
very
super brave with it.
well.
Yeah.
Seeing that we've come to the end of our show, well, first of all, thank you everyone for joining in, and you guys can comment down and like post in your opinions, even if you have or haven't read the book. We'd be happy to read them out for you and reply to them as soon as possible.
Okay, so now that we're at the end of the show, hope you have enjoyed every book that was reviewed today, and we will definitely recommend you read the book on your own for sure. So, with this, we are signing off your RJ Saranya, RJ Meghna, and RJ Jyotivarshini. Stay tuned and keep listening to Voice It, Feel the Rhythm.